Weilà raga, how's it going everybody? I hope this video finds you all doing well today. In this video, I'd like to cover the main principal differences between the Italian Passato Prossimo and Imperfetto, otherwise known as the imperfect tense in English. Now this is something that has been brought to my attention for many years. Loads of my students always ask me what is the difference between these two tenses, because it can be easy to mix them up and get them confused. But here is the main basic idea, and then I'll try to give you guys some examples. Simply put, the Passato Prossimo is your go-to verb tense anytime you just want to say that you did something in the past. Passato Prossimo, usually for actions, took place, happened in the past, one-time occurrence, done and over with. Whereas the imperfetto tends to be things that happened over and over again in the past. So usually, I'm now going to show you how we do the translations. So usually this is what we do. With the Passato Prossimo, we always tend to have two ways to translate it, which actually ends up being two different verb tenses in English. But here's the thing, we never really pay attention to verb tenses unless you're really into English grammar and linguistics and the English language and all that stuff. I know all of my native English-speaking friends, and including myself, prior to learning another language, we never really think about our verb tenses. We don't even know what they're called. Maybe some people would be surprised to know that we have 12 main verb tenses in English. But the point is, the Passato Prossimo tends to get translated with two of our verb tenses in the past. Either the present perfect, which is when we say something such as I have been there before. We use a helping verb, an auxiliary verb, to have. We use the past participle form of a verb. In this example, been comes from to be. You can only ever say been if you have the helping verb before it, to have. You can't just say I been, so we need that helping verb. Now this tends to correlate really nicely to the Passato Prossimo, because in the Passato Prossimo we use an auxiliary verb, avere. We use the Participio passato form of a verb, the past participle form of a verb, such as mangiato, bevuto, dormito, and etc. So it correlates really nicely. But then there's another translation we can give. We can use the simple past. We can use this verb tense as a translation. Generally speaking, the present perfect, such as I've been there before, I'm not telling you when exactly this action took place in the past. I'm just saying that in general, in the past, at some point in time, I have been there before. Whereas if I'm saying to you, I was there yesterday, I was there yesterday. Now to be is an irregular verb, it becomes was. Don't you like this little English lesson too? I was there yesterday. This is a specific point in time that I'm referring to. I've got yesterday attached to this. I can't say I've been there yesterday. I've been there yesterday. Yeah, of course you could get away with it, but technically speaking, it doesn't make much sense because I'm giving you a specific point in time. So I would say I was there yesterday. We could get crazy with all the English differences and exceptions and stuff, but simply put, I've been there before versus I was there yesterday. They're two very different things. In Italian, though, they don't make this differentiation. Technically speaking, if you really wanted to go into it, we could say that the passato remoto corresponds perfectly to the simple past. They just don't use the passato remoto anymore. For all of my real hardcore language enthusiasts out there, yes, we could get into that. Now, if we talk about the imperfetto, the imperfect tense in Italian, this is your go-to tense whenever you're talking about something that you used to do in the past. That is one of the best translations you can give. Of course, context, does play a part in this, so it's not always the best translation. But think about it this way. When you're using the Passato Prossimo, it's either I have done something, for example, or I did something, okay? Present perfect and simple past. Whereas the imperfetto, usually the best translation to give is when you're saying that you used to do something. So to give this some context, to put it together nicely, let's use this phrase. This is the one that I use all the time whenever I explain the imperfetto to somebody. I always say, ogni estate andavo sempre al mare con la mia famiglia. This means every summer I used to always go to the beach or to the seaside with my family. Now, what is the difference between this versus sono andato al mare or sono andato alla spiaggia? The difference is that I'm talking about an action that took place over and over again in the past. It was something that was habitual. It was a continual action. I could say, for example, ogni giorno dopo scuola giocavo sempre con I miei amici. Every day after school, I used to always play with my friends. I could also say, I would always play with my friends. In English, we get it when you say that. But if you say that to a foreigner or to someone who's learning English, they may get really confused because they associate would with you saying, I would like to go to Italy this summer, not I would always go to Italy when I was younger with my family. See the difference? We get it because it's our native language. We never pay attention to this. But trying to explain this to someone else can get a little confusing, right? So that's why I always say, just stick with you used to. When you're making translations with the imperfect tense, you can never go wrong. But you could also technically say would in these circumstances. It is something that we do. And then, of course, if you wanted to, you could also use the simple past for these translations. You could just say, oh yeah, I went to Italy every summer when I was younger. I used to do that all the time. Notice we say stuff like that. We then kind of like substantiate what we just said to make it clearer. Oh yeah, I always went to Italy. You know, we say always. We use words like this. If you guys are still a little unclear about what the difference is between these two tenses, or if you just need a refresher as to how to conjugate in them, or whatever you need, I've got 2 videos where I talk about them. Grammar Basics 2 is where I go over the Passato Prossimo. I'll link that video above and also down below in the description box. And then also Grammar Basics 4 covers the imperfect tense. Yet again, I'll list that up above and also down below in the description. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. That way you can get notified as to when I put out new videos. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in and checking out this video. I hope finally now, if you were struggling with the difference between the Passato Prossimo and the Imperfetto and the imperfect tense, that it's clearer now to you. Always remember to spread the love, guys, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Ciao!